Hey everybody, Chuck Barone here, feeling comfortable and casual today on Wednesday, April the 3rd, 2024. What a day, and more crazy. It seems like just when you're thinking, which I hardly ever do, that it can't get crazier, it finds a way to get even crazier. Unbelievable stuff to talk about today. Before I get rolling, though, let me take a half a second. Welcome everybody to the show. And as always, thank you guys for your support. We appreciate you guys being here, watching videos. Hit me up in the comments. It's always fun. Um, we appreciate you guys. We really do. All right, so let's talk about markets today. We had Powell out today at Stanford University giving a little bit of a talk. Other Fed yo-yos out there talking about interest rates. Um, the things they said sent very mixed signals. Seems like they're kind of walking things back a little bit about these rate cuts. So we had a really weird mixed day in the markets today. So check this out, okay? So the Dow falls today 13 points, really a nothing burger. Now today sitting 39,127. The NASDAQ gains 37 points today, 16,277. The S&P gains 5 points. The broader market's doing well. S&P 5,211. So a really weird day in the markets. I think Intel was probably a big part of the reason the Dow was down today, having really crappy results, their stock tanking. But the Fed speak was interesting, and we're going to talk about that a little more detail in a second here. Bond market actually rallies today. Rates falling. The 10-year just down 1 basis point, sitting at 4.36%. The 2-year falls 3 basis points, now 4.67%. So now we're seeing that yield spread, even though it's still inverted, starting to level out a little bit now. Very interesting. I want to see I wonder what would happen if the yield curve just went back to normal and stayed there. And we never really did have any recession. We just had a record-breaking length of an inverted yield curve of almost 2 years. And then we got no recession. It just went back to normal. I got to see how that happens. I don't know if it's ever happened before, but I got to say, I doubt it. So it's really fascinating. Bonds today not making a whole bunch of sense in my brain, at least. The dollar today comes down a little bit. So even though the Fed and the Fed officials were talking negatively about rates, in my opinion, at least, the way I interpreted what they were saying, the dollar, bonds, all responding like they had nothing but good things to say. I guess in a topsy-turvy world, that's the way it works. So the dollar down today, 53 basis points on the index, still above 104, 104.25, so still a very strong dollar. But it was looking just a couple of days ago like it was heading right up to 105 and maybe higher. Now we got to reevaluate that look, right? Gold and silver continuing their tear. Oh my God, man, guys. Have you seen these prices today? Listen to this. Gold up another $19.90. Now sitting, get this, $2,300.70 for an ounce of gold. $2,300 for an ounce of gold. Silver up $1.04. Now silver, $27.12. Unfreaking believable, guys. I was just talking about silver having trouble consolidating at 25. And boom, now it's over 27. Gold just continuing to roll. Gold actually outperforming stocks this year. I can't remember the last time that happened. Fascinating stuff. Oil today, up again, but only small, up 28 cents, sitting at $85.43 for a barrel of West Texas Intermediate. I still think this price is too high. I just don't see, the U.S. now, I talked about on the show, 3.2 million more barrels in the stockpile. I don't see there's any kind of shortage of oil. It's all about war. It's all about politics in the Middle East, Israel, Iran, blah, blah, blah. Never-ending bullshit. All convenient to keep oil prices high. Bitcoin today rallies up a little bit, up $359, sitting at 65,789. So super solid number still for Bitcoin. I think that we have to come to the conclusion here. I was talking to a friend of mine about it today. he was asking me, do I think it's real? And I'm like, I still don't really understand exactly how the whole blockchain thing works. But I do know that now that you're going to be able to buy this stuff very easily through Vanguard, Fidelity, companies people are very comfortable with, familiar with, dealing with, there's going to only increase the demand for this stuff, guys. It's just pretty simple way it works. A lot of people, older people, especially people who have money, um, not really want to really be worrying about having a crypto wallet, buying from some weird exchange like, FTX or one of those other ones to get involved in crypto, not really understanding it, not a lot of regulation and, anything really securing it, right? So there was just a lot of doubt about it. And I understand that. I was among them. But now that you have it being available to people, pretty much, you can go onto your Fidelity account, I guess, and buy it right now. Um, this is going to get people in this market. It's, where the money is already flying into these ETFs and they're barely known. It's only going to continue to get bigger, especially for people looking for alternatives to the dollar. And I don't know really how Bitcoin fits that exactly, because it seems to move with the market a lot of times, where gold and silver are obviously on their own. Um, but nonetheless, there's going to be a bigger market for this. It's only going to continue to get bigger, guys. You don't have to understand it to put a few bucks and get involved in it, because everybody should have a certain part of their portfolio, not a very big part, but a certain portion, especially if you're younger, that you can do a little more speculative investments on. Okay. Maybe a stock that you're doing some research on. They're not really very big yet. They're not really earning money, but they're going to, or there might be a target for a bigger company, and stuff like this. Cryptocurrencies. Now, I would stay away from some of the fringier stuff, but Bitcoin now obviously has a real market. So keep an eye on that stuff, guys. Anyway, let's talk about news you guys need today, because there's a lot of it. Okay, let's start with Powell. Powell and the Fed people are out now talking. We knew this was coming. I told you guys to expect it. They're going to come out there and they're going to start talking down these rate cuts. They want to bring the market down slowly on the idea that they may not get as many rate cuts as they were hoping for. So Powell's saying that the market obviously is not where they need it to be yet to cut rates immediately. They're going to take a wait and see and be driven by the data, which is, again, nothing new. They said, obviously, inflation is too hot right now and there's not enough data to support a rate cut at this time. He also said that the Fed would always only do the right thing for the economy and their decision would not be in any way influenced by the election. Well, anybody that believes that, okay, I got a bridge or a beautiful, riverfront property and desert here in Arizona or Nevada. Guys, this is all bullshit, okay? Trump is already freaking out, saying that Powell is going to be cutting rates to help Biden. If Powell actually does cut rates while this election's in full swing, it's certainly going to be interpreted one way by half this country. So I don't know how he can say that with a straight face, okay? The election will influence it, and I'm telling you right now, I would be shocked. Now, I'm not always right, but I am right more than I'm wrong. And I got to tell you, I would be shocked if they actually cut rates during the heat of this election. I just don't see that happening. We also had Fed President Bostic. He's the Fed president of the Federal Reserve Bank in Atlanta, saying that the Federal Reserve was in no hurry at all to cut rates. He sees one rate cut this year coming in the fourth quarter. Well, guess what? The fourth quarter conveniently meaning after the election. After the election. So now it looks to me like they want to kind of reset expectations. Pretty soon we're going to be off of this June rate cut, and it's going to be moving into the end of the year rate cuts, especially if the economy continues to stay warm. and it is warm right now. We got more data on that today. ADP comes out. Now, they're always foreshadowing what we're going to get as far as jobs go. Their jobs report, they were expecting 155,000 last month. They got 188,000. So that gives us a little bit of foreshadowing that the jobs report we're going to get on Friday, they're expecting 200,000, okay, the government statistics. They've been missing pretty badly. So let's see if this foreshadows that 200 will probably be a low estimate. We did get 275,000 jobs in February. So 200,000 would be still a good number, but a big come down from 275. It's going to be interesting to see on Friday where that jobs number really lands. They said March was much better than expected, and even they said that February was actually revised higher. So now we'll see their February, ADP's February was revised higher. We'll see if they do any kind of revision to the official numbers on Friday. Quick news is today. ISM index comes out, shows that inflation is finally ticking down a little bit in the manufacturing side, the production side of things. Lowest reading since the pandemic. If that's true, well, that's going to be able to take a little bit of pressure off producer prices, which came in high the last PPI index we got. If we can get a little pressure off the producer side, maybe these corporations who've had their fill of greedflation and massive profits will cut a little bit of slack to the consumer and bring their CPI down along with the producer price side would be great for everybody, right? This was interesting today too, talking about gold. Central banks are gobbling up all the gold, guys. It's all about central banks. Now, China, Russia, everywhere in the world, central banks buying up gold. 1,037 tons of gold last year directly to central banks. It's just under the record of 1,082 tons for central banks. But listen to this. This was the number that caught my eye. Central banks are now buying up 35% of all global gold production. Okay. Now that doesn't, guess what? The demand for jewelry and for everything else that gold is used for is still there. So with central banks in the market, and now you're getting investors into the market, that of course you're seeing in the price of gold. $2,300 freaking dollars today, right? PMI shows that services inflation slowing, services themselves slowing. That's been a real hot part of the economy. The numbers slowing is still strong, but it's good to see a little bit of breath there, because that's one of the numbers the Fed considers when it's talking about its rate cuts. Intel today, I mentioned that earlier, they had a pretty bad loss. Intel stock falls 8% today. They announced a $7 billion loss. I don't know how they did that. Isn't the federal government like directing all kind of cash at making chip manufacturing here in the US? Isn't that what Intel does? So they've got the government behind them, Chinese competition out, and they lose $7 billion. I have to look a little bit closer at that because that's crazy. Did you see this one, guys? They took a poll of people in the United States asking them how much money they would need to have or what their net worth would need to be before they could comfortably retire. Are you ready for this? $1.46 million. That's the consensus number. That tells me that retirement is going away, guys. How many people are going to have a net worth of $1.5 million when they're ready to retire? How many people? How many people are millionaires now? What percentage of the public? You don't even need to be a millionaire, you need to be a 1.5 millionaire. Crazy times. And here's the final, before we wrap the show up today. You guys know about this Ozempic stuff, right? This class of drug. It was a diabetic drug, but somehow they found that it helps people lose weight. So now there's a mania on with people trying to get this drug to use it to lose weight. They don't want to exercise. They don't want to watch their diet. They don't want to cool the drinking or whatever. So they want to just take this shot. I guess the The shot, I guess, costs $1,000 a month to get these shots. You got to get them forever, because if you take them and you lose the weight and you stop taking it, guess what? The weight comes back. So now they're putting people on this weight loss program where they're going to spend all this money forever. The drug does have its side effects. It doesn't work for everybody. But here's the kicker. They're now offering it at Costco. Okay? So that's it now, guys. Forget the whole exercise and diet thing. It's all gone. Now you just need to go to Costco and use your card, and boom, you get your Ozempic shot, and you're off and running on getting to your ideal weight. What's next, man? What, really? Anyway, that's it for the day, guys. As always, we really appreciate your support. Today's a special day, by the way. It's Chuck's birthday. I turned 100 today. It seems like it, at least. And so I'm going to have some fun with the family later on, but I will be back tomorrow. We'll get jobless claims and a whole bunch of other data. Tomorrow's going to be a pretty interesting day. I'll be here to bring you guys the news you need. If you can, guys, please hit the like button. It helps the algorithms with our friends at YouTube, gets our video in front of a few more people. I'll be on comments today, guys, in and out. Hit me up, comments, questions, fun stuff, jokes, whatever. Until tomorrow then, guys, everybody take care. Thanks.